I remember getting a PlayStation 3 pretty late into its life cycle. I can't remember exactly when, but I do remember talking to friends at school pretending I had one, and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, I just bought that game on the PlayStation Store," and I'd be like, "Yeah, the PlayStation Store. I was just there yesterday." And then when Walmart announced their layaway Christmas deals, my mom thought, okay, perfect time to get him a new console. And bada bing bada boom, your boy Iggy had a PS3. But I also had no internet, so I still couldn't visit the PlayStation Store. And the only games I owned for the PS3 were Iron Man and The Darkness. And after several years of not playing through it, I decided what better time to play through it than now as an adult with my frontal lobe fully developed. So in The Darkness, we play as orphan Jackie Estacado, who was adopted by Paulie Franchetti to become a hitman for the Franchetti crime family. Paranoia takes over though, and Paulie thinks Jackie is trying to replace him as the Don. So on the night of Jackie's 21st birthday, Jackie and two of his mafia co-workers are ambushed while out on a job. One of his co-workers gets... and the other one bleeds out after a car crash that feels right out of a Universal Studios ride. Jackie is ambushed by even more of Paulie's men in this construction site and then chased into the cemetery where he gets cornered in the bathroom. With no way out, all hope seems lost for Jackie Estacado until a sinister voice calls out to him and he becomes possessed by the darkness. This moment right here is stuck in my head since the moment I first played this game all the way back in my young age. Jackie runs down into the subway, which serves as the game's hub that connects the different areas we're going to be exploring throughout the game. You talk to some NPCs, pick up some side quests. Eventually, we make our way to Jenny's house. Jenny, sweet Jenny. She gives Jackie his birthday cake. Then they have a super deep heart-to-heart where Jenny's like, "You're being weird, Jackie. What's up?" And Jackie spills the beans.
What exactly do you do for your Uncle Paulie anyway?
I'm a contract killer. I, kill people for the Franchetti crime family.
And Jenny's like, "Okay, fine, don't tell me what's actually wrong, whatever." And they cuddle up together and watch a movie together and share a little kiss, and Jenny falls asleep. Jackie heads out and is ambushed again before meeting up with Butcher, a friend of the mafia who helps get rid of the bodies they kill, and usually he doesn't choose sides, but he likes Jackie, so he decides to help him out where he can. The two of them decide the best way to kill Paulie before he kills Jackie is to mess with Paulie's connection so bad that other gangs decide to kill Paulie themselves. But then, bam, we're ambushed by the entire police department because Paulie is in cahoots with Eddie Schroet, who is the chief of police, and every single cop in this game is crooked. It's absolutely bonkers. Jackie meets up with Roach in order to discuss things, but Roach is also in cahoots with Eddie, and bam. Now, before we continue, you're probably noticing there's a lot going on screen. Well, yeah, that's the darkness that's inside of Jackie. He can summon these darkness creatures that give him more health, who can eat dead people's hearts to get stronger, get health back, and Jackie can summon these little cutie patooties called Darklings, who run around killing things, just getting into all kinds of shenanigans. But yeah, these creatures are basically part of the darkness, and this whole time the darkness, played by Mike Patton, we'll talk more about him later, is rooting for Jackie to keep killing, and he's just getting his rocks off watching all the bloodshed ensue. So with Jackie sabotaging Paulie's operation and killing his cahooters, Paulie decides to get back at Jackie and blows up the orphanage that he and Jenny grew up in, because also Jenny also grew up in the orphanage, and Jackie and her have been friends since they were little and basically have always been in love with each other. It's so cute, it's important, write it down, it's going to be on the quiz. Jackie meets up with Jenny and Jimmy, a lot of J's going around her, and decide it's time to hurt Paulie even worse by finding his secret money stash and burning that bitch to ashes. When Jackie goes back to meet up with Jenny and Jimmy, Jimmy's on the ground all knocked out, and Jenny has been kidnapped by Paulie and Eddie and taken to the burnt down orphanage. Jackie rushes to the orphanage. Well, I say rushes, but I did stop to do this little side quest for a while, so oops, my bad. Once Jackie gets to the orphanage though, my goodness gracious, look, listen to me. I've been told that I use the word favorite too much. I'm always saying, oh, that's my favorite song, my favorite movie, my favorite vibrator. The point is, I have a lot of favorites, but this entire section that takes place in the orphanage has to be one of my top all-time favorite moments in any video game ever. Jackie walks throughout the orphanage, and instead of being ambushed, we get a 10-minute segment of just walking around and seeing Jackie and Jenny's childhood, from the moment they met to when they started becoming close to when they would push each other away because they didn't understand what they were feeling, ending with the moment that Polly shows up to adopt Jackie and he locks himself away crying because he doesn't want to leave Jenny. The entire time we're watching this play out, the darkness is taunting Jackie, laughing at him, showing just how evil it is. And then Jackie finds Jenny being beaten and tortured by Polly and Eddie, and Jackie could easily kill these two and save Jenny, but the darkness grabs Jackie's arms and holds him down, forcing him to watch Jenny get tortured while she begs for Jackie to save him.
Ow. I take from you.
Jackie, this is not your fault.
And then she gets her face blown off right in front of Jackie, literally right across the glass. The darkness finally lets go of Jackie, and he breaks down the door. Polly and Eddie run off, and Jackie watches over Jenny's dead body as the darkness continues to taunt him. And Jackie grabs the gun they used to kill Jenny and...
Where are you going? Jackie, this is not your time.
I mean, it's good. It's so fucking good. Y'all don't understand how much I love this entire chapter. So Jenny's dead. Jackie's dead. Roll credits, right? No, sir. Jackie wakes up and we get this weird-ass cutscene.
No! Please! Please have mercy!
So Jackie is technically dead right now. In the real world, he's just laying there with a bullet in his head. But the darkness needs a host and refuses to let Jackie die, so the darkness sends Jackie's soul into this war version of hell to keep him busy, while the darkness fixes up Jackie in real life. Jackie in the hell other world meets up with his great-great-grandfather Anthony Estacado, who explains that he was the one who made a deal with the darkness and placed a curse on his family so that on the 21st birthday of each male born, they would become possessed by the darkness. Eventually, Jackie wakes up in the real world with new abilities and weapons, and the story becomes a cat and mouse game between Jackie and Eddie. It's not the most interesting story-wise. I mean, you just can't top the first 2 hours of this game, but it is fun. Jackie chases Eddie through an apartment, but Eddie gets away. Jackie steals an important briefcase that belongs to Eddie, and Eddie is like, okay, let's meet up, bring my briefcase. But Butcher plants a bomb inside the briefcase, and when they meet up in a church, Jackie is captured and tortured in another great scene.
You realize no one's getting out of this alive, right?
You know, Estacado, I never did like Paulie Franchetti. If I didn't have to kill you, I'd buy you a drink for what you did.
You're fucking hilarious. You think fuckface Eddie could ever make me talk?
You caused us a lot of trouble, Estacado.
No, stupid puppet!
And that was the second time I died.
Jackie wakes up back in Otherworld, and he and Anthony attack the darkness's home in an attempt to gain control over it. He succeeds, but is warned that the control over the darkness is not permanent, and the more people Jackie kills, the stronger the darkness will get until it finally takes over him completely. Eventually, he sends Polly running away to this lighthouse where Jackie just absolutely demolishes everything and kills everyone, and it's another absolute banger moment filled with cosmic horror. Jackie chases Polly up a lighthouse, and after a final confrontation, Jackie kills Polly, but this final kill is enough to give the darkness control over Jackie, and he fully possesses his body. Jackie wakes up and he's on Jenny's lap in a dream world where Jenny explains that they've given a few minutes to say goodbye to each other. And
You have to wake up now. Wake up.
baby, if that ain't cinema, then I don't know what is. The story of The Darkness is not perfect by any means. I have tons of issues with it, but the moments that do work don't just work, they put in overtime. The introduction in the car where Jackie and his coworkers get ambushed is so chaotic and it sets up the tone perfectly. The quiet moments in the subway, and you spend a lot of time in the subway, works so well because the somber voice acting is top tier. The entire moment in Jenny's apartment is nice, and when Jackie tells Jenny the truth about who he is and what he does, it's such a little sincere moment. You kind of forget you're playing a game and you set the controller down and you're like, oh, this is good. And when they sit on the couch together to watch the movie, the soundtrack to the movie plays in the background of the scene between Jenny and Jackie's kiss. I mean, look, it's an old game in first person, so when they kiss, it's awkward, it's clunky, but the point comes across. Jenny is such a well-written character, and at the end of the day, their relationship is the backbone to the story. It's the reason Jackie keeps going, and when he loses that, it's the reason he goes on the rampage he does again and again. The entire orphanage chapter is perfect. Every piece of the puzzle fits perfectly, and gosh dang it if I don't want to frame the image it makes. No, I should take this down. The first time Jackie goes to hell, it's dark and creepy, and the soldiers' disfigured faces honestly give me the heebie-jeebies. And there's random jump scares thrown throughout, and it really feels like it switched into a horror game for the first time. And although I do think the second time that you're here, it kind of drags a bit and the story isn't the strongest. In fact, that's one of my biggest complaints about the story. After the orphanage chapter, the story isn't as interesting until the very end at the lighthouse. There are little cool moments, sure, but this game busted its nuts so early that you can't help but wait for another moment like the orphanage chapter to come by again, and it doesn't happen until the lighthouse sequence at the very end, which I will say, the ending is great, it's perfect, it's emotional but satisfying, dark but bittersweet, and the soundtrack goes so hard. And that's not all. Again, the voice acting, top tier from everyone all around.
You know why we're here? Because you heard me, Jackie. I took you in for my own. I trusted you. So now all this blood is on your hands.
Jackie, what's going on? Get me out of here!
Shut the fuck up!
No!
But damn, if I don't give a shout out to the man who steals the show, Mike Patton. My god, the voice on this man.
Jackie, go back or be lost forever. This is a mistake. You insulted my legacy. Now, I learned you a lesson.
And then there's the soundtrack. The soundtrack, my goodness gracious. From the main theme song to the song that plays whenever you're in the subway. To the face-smashing metal songs that play throughout the shootouts. My personal favorite is the one that plays when you're chasing Eddie throughout his apartment. But you gotta remember that in the end, this is a video game. And the most important part of a video game, well, it's the gameplay. And I was dreading this part because gameplay-wise, The Darkness is probably the worst first-person shooter I've ever played. Jackie walks incredibly slow and there's no sprint button. So when you backtrack, and you do backtrack a decent amount, most of the time you're just walking down a quiet street after cleaning an area, and it becomes a bit redundant. And the shooting, as a first-person shooter, you would think, okay, I can aim down the sights, get a good look at my enemy. But no, you can't. There's this red dot that moves around, and the controls are way too sensitive, and sometimes the red dot will auto lock onto an enemy or object, so you can't get the right shot. But it's so clunky, the red dot only locks on for like half a second before moving way too far. Sometimes I would be face to face with an enemy, and I would have a fucking shotgun, and my shots would be missing because the red dot wouldn't lock onto the enemy. Instead, it would just fly all around the place until I ran out of ammo or died, which you die a lot in this game. And not in the get good type of way. And yes, you technically can aim down the sights with the right stick, but I don't recommend this at all. Aiming is like 5 times slower than usual, and the red dot still bugs around like crazy, making it even harder to shoot targets unless they're standing absolutely positively still. Jackie has almost no health, and with no cover system and terrible controls, it makes it really easy for enemies to shoot you. And my god, why are they all better hitmen than you? Every bullet hits you. Sometimes enemies will shoot you from so far away or from blind firing at you, and they'll empty a whole magazine on you. Not to mention the moments when they send a chopper out after you and it absolutely destroys you. It looks cool, but when you need to face off against armored police who take way more shots than you do, like, excuse me, which one of us is possessed by an all-powerful demonic force? Me? Huh? Because the game sure don't act like it. You can trigger the darkness with a button, but there's a catch. It needs to be dark to summon it, and there are light sources everywhere. So on top of having to shoot enemies with these awful controls, you also need to carefully aim your gun at the lights and shoot them out. Sometimes there's switches that you can just flip click, but most of the time you're being blasted at, so it's not like you have a chance to look for the switches. You end up unlocking tons of abilities that do admittedly make the gameplay a bit more fun. You get these cool darkness guns that don't need ammo and can shoot as long as it's dark. This tentacle that makes it way easier to destroy light sources and can also stab enemies, and I like using this. You can send out one of your tentacles and control it to go through small spaces and open doors for you to sneakily kill off enemies. And the Darklings, my little cutie patootie babies. You can find their summon portals and bring them out to fight with you. There's a berserker that runs up to enemies and eats their faces, a kamikaze that runs up to enemies and blows itself up, a light killer that destroys all light sources in a room, and a gunner that has a minigun. But anytime I would summon him, he just end up stuck shooting a wall, so I wouldn't really bother with this one. And finally, the best of them all, the black hole, which lets you summon a black hole wherever you're aiming and absolutely destroys everything and everyone in its path. I do see some people saying that this ability makes you too strong and makes the game a bit too easy, but fuck that. You get it pretty late in the game, and I think it's more than fair to have this ability and make up for the horrible shooting, and gosh dang it, we're possessed by a demonic force. If that don't mean become overpowered, then I don't want it. Revisiting the darkness was an experience. The story is even better than I remember. The world and vibes and characters and music are forever burned into my brain. And the gameplay is awful, but damn, I just don't hate this game. What it lacks in gameplay, it makes up for in literally everything else. And I know gameplay should come first, but when everything else is so good, I mean, you can't just brush it off to the side. A remaster for this game with improved graphics and controls would probably cement it as one of the all-time greats. But for now, it's a game I recommend maybe watching on YouTube, maybe reading the comics, but I don't know. I think it's a game that everyone should experience, but not everyone should play, if that makes sense. Yeah, that's thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe if you liked and you want to subscribe, because I will do this again.